Hi guys, what is up? In this video, we'll be building a Slack bot using GOLANG. And as you can see on my screen, there are three different ways or levels at which you can integrate with the Slack API. The first level is the direct API integration, wherein you go to the Slack API documentation and then you try to create GOLANG functions that actually talk to the APIs directly. So that is the first approach. We won't be doing this. Then the second approach, which is, so this is the most low level, in the sense this is the lowest level of approach that you can follow. The one level above that is that somebody, the community, the GOLANG community has already written a library on top of the Slack APIs, so that you don't have to work with the Slack APIs directly, but you can work with a library, an SDK for GOLANG. And here what the benefit that it gives you is that you get to work with functions. So somebody has already written these functions that actually translate and talk to the APIs. But all you have to do is you have to use your data points and then call these functions, and the functions then take care of everything else, right? So this is usually the approach that's followed by most of the people to integrate with Slack. Now, in our case specifically, we're building Slack bots, right? So this does not really solve everything for us. What we have to do is we have to actually work with a lot of socket programming, because the bot should be able to read messages and also able to write messages. So we have to rely on something one step higher than this, one level above this, which is a socket package that somebody has written for GOLANG for the Slack library. So basically Slack gave us these APIs. Then the GOLANG community wrote a library on top of these APIs. Then somebody wrote a socket package, that helps you create Slack bots specifically on top of this GOLANG library, right? So this then talks to the wrapper library, then gives you, in turn gives you access to functions, then you call the APIs. So this is what we're going to do. So that we won't have to write a lot of code, right? So a lot of our work will be, taken care of by these two things. A lot of the heavy lifting would have already been done. Now, if you want to just get Slack messages or just get the list of the users, and if you want to do those kind of API integration which does not require socket, then this is obviously the right way to go, and this I can show you in another video, right? But we want to create a Slack bot, something that can actually read messages and write messages in real time, right? So we want to use socket programming, and so we'll have to rely on this. Otherwise we'll have to do a lot of coding to actually create this library on top of this, right? The socket library. If you want, I can show you that as well, but for the course of this video, at least, what we're doing is we're going to only be focusing on creating a program that actually talks to this library. So we're going to use a library called as Slacker, Slacker. I think I have it open out here. So this is the Slacker library that somebody called Shomali has already built. So I think he's a genius, right? So he's already written the complete socket programming part for you, and all you have to do is you have to get his package, and then start creating your own Slack bot. So enough. I think I've talked enough about what we're going to do, and now what we'll do is we'll talk about the process that we'll follow, right? So a lot of this process, about 50 to 60% of it is on the Slack, Slack dashboard, and about 30 to 40 or 50% almost is on the writing the actual GOLANG code. So the writing the actual GOLANG code is not going to be very complex, right? But the confusing part that sometimes people find very confusing is how do you actually create the bot in the Slack console or the dashboard, and then how do you get those API keys and those tokens, right? Because there's just so many settings to do there. So we'll cover all of those. So I'll take you through the process here in this video, and then from the next video onwards, I'll start taking you through the Slack dashboard and how to actually do this, right? So what we'll do is we'll first create a Slack account. So if you don't have this, then I highly encourage you to first create a Slack account before you start watching the next video of this series. So create a Slack account, create a workspace. You have to create a workspace in Slack, all right? Then we'll go to the api.slack.com page, right? So which is this page, api.slack.com. This is the page that you need to be on, right? When you start the next video, of this series. And then from here onwards, I'll take you forward, as in I'll from this place onwards, like create an app. From here, I'll be able to guide you, but you have to come till here. You have to create a Slack account, you have to create a workspace, and you have to come to api.slack.com, all right? And from this video onwards is where we'll start in the next video, this part onwards. Okay, we'll create a new app. So it'll ask us, do you want it to start from scratch or from template? So this can be very useful when you're creating subsequent bots. If you want to create more bots, then you can use templates, manifest.json files, and you can a lot of those permissions and accesses will be taken care of. You don't have to actually repeat all of that process again. So this step, sometimes people forget to check when creating a bot for the second time. So I'll show you this. Then what we'll do, but in this video, is we'll create the bot from scratch, and we'll have to activate something called as the socket mode. So we'll find socket mode in the menu, in the left menu, and then we'll enable socket mode. I'll show you all of this, so you don't have to worry. After you come to this page, right, create an app, I will show you all of these steps in the next video. So you don't have to worry about it. Just create your Slack account and come to this api.slack.com. All right, and then we'll enable the socket mode, and then we'll copy our token. So socket mode gives us something called as the app token. Right, so that we'll have to copy, and then we'll have to find the event subscription option. Then we'll have to enable all the events, and we'll have to add permissions of the events that we want. So these are the events that we'll need access to. We'll need our bot to have permissions to all of these. We'll be able to read the chat and write messages, all of those things, right? And we'll save the changes, and also then we'll have to go to the OAuth and permissions page, where we'll install our bot that we've just created to our workspace, and we'll copy the bot token from this page, OAuth and permissions page, and then so bot token is different from app token. So a lot of people who try to create a Slack bot, they get confused between the two, and then there are many more APIs key which we won't be needing, but Slack gives you so many different types of API keys, so the secret key and your user ID and all those things. So we don't have any work for those. We just need these two things, right? The app token and the bot token. So I'll show you how to get both of these together. This generally people find this to be the most confusing part. Anyways, so we'll install it to our workplace. So one thing you have to remember is that whenever you have installed a bot to your workspace, right, any changes you make in the settings or in the permissions, you have to always reinstall it to your workspace. This is one thing that, again, people, I mean, if you go to Stack Overflow and you find the number of issues that people have, barely there is any issue regarding the coding problems, but most of the issues can be solved by reinstalling it to your workspace. In the sense, people forget to reinstall it to their workspace, right? And then so after you install it to your workspace, you start building your bot. In the sense, you start writing the code, the GOLANG code that you build your bot, and then you start your bot obviously on your local server. So we won't be installing it on a remote server. We'll be installing it running it on our local server, and our local server will talk to Slack. So let me show you actually using a diagram. So this is our local host, and we'll start just as we start any other program. So we'll do run main.go or something like that, and that will start our server, and our server will in touch in turn talk to the Slack API, but using socket, right? So we'll be using socket to talk to the Slack API to our Slack workspace, right? And then to be able to talk to your bot, you'll have to mention it on a channel, like let's say a general challenge or somewhere like that. So you'll mention it on your channel, and then you'll pass it some command. So we would have written that code on how to handle a particular command, right? And we would have written the replies also of those commands, and then you'll be able to interact with your bot. All right, so these are the different steps, and I think I think it'll take 2 videos for me to actually cover all of this. Then the upcoming 2 videos. In one video, I'll take you through all the Slack dashboard things that you need to do, right? The Slack interface things, and then the next would be actually creating the code and then interacting with our bot, right? Building the code and interacting with the bot. So 2 more videos will come up in this series. So stay tuned. If you're really interested in building a Slack bot, then I recommend that you subscribe to this channel. Because we won't be just building a Slack bot. Like I said, I'll show you how to actually, integrate with the other APIs that Slack has, right? And not just the bot APIs like the socket APIs, but the other APIs that Slack has. I'll take you through all of these also. And if you want, I can also show you how to write this socket package, on top of the GOLANG wrapper library, right? As in, I can break down the code for you on how to do this. And ideally, you should be on api.slack.com. So referring back to our diagram, you should have created a Slack account and a workspace in your Slack account. Now you should be on api.slack.com. Now we'll create an app here. So let's go ahead and create an app. And here it'll ask me a question. Do I want to start it from scratch or an API or app manifest, right? From a template or from scratch. So I'll select scratch. Here I'll give it a name called testbot. You can give it any name and select the workspace. So we'll create the app. Now I have to select something called as a socket mode, right? So I have to go and find it, and I have to enable the socket mode. So socket mode is the 3rd option on the menu on the left. I'll go ahead and enable socket mode. So let's find this option and then enable it, right? Toggle. It's asking me to generate a token, so I'll call it the socket token, and I'll generate this. So I'll copy and paste it somewhere on my computer. You can do the same. All right. I'm just making sure if I have copied it. Yes, I've copied it. And now, since we have copied it, now what we'll do is we'll go to the event subscription option and switch it on as well. Let's go to the event subscriptions and let's enable it. So we can subscribe to bot events from here, or we can add them in our OAuth permission. So if you remember from my diagram, I had said that you can enable events and then you can add permissions from here, right? Or you can go to you can go to OAuth and permissions and start adding permissions from there. It's the same thing basically. So we'll start adding some scopes. Add a scope. We'll say app read, app mentions read. It'll say view message and content. Yes, channels history, channels read, chat write, channels message. So not manage, sorry, should have been message actually. So let's select more. I am read and I am write. Yeah. So let's see, we needed channels message.mpim app mention message.im I am read I am write chat write. All right, and channels. Let's see what all can we take from here. So this is the only part where which you might find boring, but don't worry. So mpim read, no, I don't think we need that. Yeah, so this should be all right, but I think I still feel that there are some scopes that we are missing. So what I'll do is I'll go back to event subscriptions. I'll switch it on and save and subscribe to some bot events. Let's add some bot events like app mention. All right, and message.im and message.mpim. So I think those should be enough from what I think right now. Message. Don't worry if this part takes you long, because your bot wouldn't work properly if you have not given it the right permissions, right? So let's save our changes and let's go back in our OAuth and permissions and check if, yeah, so bot has all those token scopes. Perfect. All right. And so it seems fine. So just take a note again, in your OAuth and permissions, you need all these scopes. App mentions read, channels history, channels read, chat write, I am history, I am read, I am write, and mpim history. You need all these. Okay. So you can take a note of this. Let me also just go through and see if I have missed anything. Send messages to customization avatar. This, I'm not sure if we need this, but I think we can. So I'll show you an example where we'll need these the files read and files write also, where I'll show you how a chatbot can upload files to a channel. So, but we don't need that right now. If you make something about group direct messages, then I think, yeah, let's add mpim read also. Okay, just to be sure. And let's say mpim write also. Okay, so mpim write, read, mpim history, I am write, I am read, I am history, chat write. All these scopes you need. All right, from what I think we'll require. I'll show you, because I'll show you multiple examples, right? So you'll need a lot of these scopes. And in your event subscriptions, just go and make sure if it's on, right? Sometimes Slack is not able to register your changes. And subscribe to bot events. Just make sure you have app mention, message.im, message.mpim, these three things at least. And let me also check again if I have left anything out. So, anything else that is important to us. Messages.groups. Yeah, let's add messages.groups. And it might look very random to you what I'm doing out here, but don't worry about it right now. Just try to copy what I'm doing. Just try to select all of these different channels or permissions that I'm selecting. All right, these are different events. I think for now everything looks all right to me. Group IAM history changed. Yeah, so just make sure these are the 5 ones, right? App mention, message.n IAM, message.mpim, message.groups, message.channels. Save changes. All right, and now what we'll do is, so we have done this, we have saved the changes, we have now we have gone to our OAuth and permissions. Now what we'll do is we'll have to copy the bot token in our OAuth and permissions. So let's go back to our OAuth and permissions. We should find something called as bot token. We can't see it because we have not installed it to our workspace yet. So let's install it to our workspace. All right. I know the scope permission and all those events took a little time, but it's okay. It will take you time as well. Make sure you select all the ones that I selected, right? So that your bot behaves as expected. Because sometimes what might happen is that you're trying to run your code and the code won't work, and it's actually because it's not subscribing to an event, or it doesn't have permission, OAuth permission for a particular what do you call it, authorization, right? So that can lead to a lot of problem, in the sense you won't be able to figure out what the issue is and why your code is not working. So just be sure you do those things, 2 things properly. And here what we'll do is we'll install it to our workspace now. So I'll say allow. So we have installed it to our workspace. Now, if I do any other change in my bot, I have to reinstall it to my workspace. All right. So I'll just copy this. This is my bot user OAuth token, and I will save it somewhere safe. So that was my app token. This is my OAuth token, which starts with XOXB. Just make sure. And so now I think I'll take a pause, and in the next video we'll actually write the code for GOLANG, where we'll use both these tokens and we'll actually test out our bot. And now we're going to start writing our code. So as you can see, I'm in my PowerShell. You could be on Ubuntu terminal or Mac terminal, doesn't matter, the commands will be the same. So I'm in my folder where I keep all my GOLANG code. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a directory called slack test, and I'm going to cd into slack test, and here we'll run go mod init, and we'll say github.com/akhil/slack test. Okay, so it has created a go mod file, and I'll be needing a package which is the socket package for Slack, which somebody has already created for us. So it's called github.com/shomali11/slacker. So let's give it some time to actually install it. I think it's installed it now. So now we can start using that package inside our code. So I'm going to go ahead and start VS Code. You could be using any other code editor, not a problem. And let me now try to get my OBS software to actually show you that file. It's going to take a while. I'm sorry, it's quite standard actually. Yeah, so I hope now you can see it on my screen. So I've opened my VS Code window, and we'll create a file here called main.go. And as you know, we do 3 things that are standard, right? We'll say package main, and we'll import some packages, and then we'll have our func main, right, which is the main entry point into the program, into any GOLANG program. And here I want to have another function called print command events, which is simply going to print all the command events that I give to Slack, right? But this is going to print in my terminal. Now Slack bots have something called as a command. So it's basically bot.command, right? And to the bot we can give different commands, right? So like for example, we can give it a command called ping, let's say. So to be able to give these commands to the bot, we'll obviously have to initialize the bot, right? So we'll say bot is equal to slacker. Slacker is the library that we'll be using, and we'll say new client. That Slacker is the library, by the way, that we've just installed, that Somali Slacker, right? And here we'll say os dot get environment and Slack bot token, and then we'll say comma os dot get environment Slack app token. Now I could just not use get environment and just pass the tokens here directly, right? But I won't do that because we'll have to keep our code modular, so that in the future, if we want to have a config file, or if we want to set environment in any other way, we can still, the code will still be relevant, right? You won't have to do a lot of changes. And obviously, if you want to go into production, you will have to get the environment variables from somewhere, right? Like, let's say if you want to host it on Heroku or somewhere like that. So for now, for the sake of this video, since this is a test video and this is not going to production, I'm going to set the OS environment out here itself, right? So I'm going to say set environment for Slack bot token. And here I'll pass my token. Okay, and you also have your token already, which I've shown you in the previous videos. And here I'll set my environment for the Slack app token, right? So you have both of these tokens. And now let me copy and paste my tokens here. So my Slack, this is my Slack bot token. So the token that starts with XOXB, that's your Slack bot token, all right? And the one that starts with XAPP, that's your Slack app token. Just in case you're not sure which one is which, this is how you can check. XOXB for Slack bot and XAPP for Slack app token. And now obviously it's giving us a squiggly line because it doesn't know what Slacker is, and it's automatically also importing the package that we are needing for on its own. Like, it knows that, okay, OS, I'm using OS, so it wants to import the OS package. And here, after creating our bot, we are going to also say print command, we're going to say go print command events. The spelling here is wrong, obviously, of events, so just remove this E from here, remove this E from here. And here we're going to pass bot dot command events. All right. So whatever commands that I pass to my bot, right, I also want them to show up in my terminal so that I know everything is working fine. And here, what we're going to say is we are going to get a pointer to the command events that we have just passed it, command event. And then we're going to have a channel, analytics channel. All right. And all we want to do here is basically we want to print out the timestamp of the command itself, the parameters, and the event. All right. So what we'll do is we'll have to actually range over this, range analytics channel. Spelling of event is wrong. Then we'll say fmt dot println command events, and we'll say fmt dot println event dot timestamp. So fmt dot println let's say event dot the command itself, right? And now we want the parameters, so we'll say fmd.println to print out the event.parameters, and then the event, we want to print out the event as well, so we'll say println say event.event. Okay, so we were able to range over the events, right? We were able to get event one by one, and then we basically print out all the values inside the event, and then we'll just keep one empty println as well. All right, so that's done, and so it was able to automatically get GitHub Shomali Slacker for us. And the other packages that we will need will be context, and we'll be needing log to log out if there's any error. And I think that is it. I don't think we need any more packages for now. And here, coming back to here, the command, this basically this part, right? The command part is actually the most important function in this entire project. All right. So what I'll also do is I'll just write some code to just some cancel. This is standard stuff, right? If you've seen my previous videos, you know this is standard stuff. And we'll say differ, cancel, and we'll also get our bot to listen. Listen context. If there's an error, which is error is not equal to nil, that means there's an error, and you log out fatal error. Okay, so yeah, so coming back, this is the, so we've written out our, what do you call it, our boilerplate code. All of this is like not necessary, but this part is very necessary, right? The command itself. So the command, and how do we handle the command? Now let's get to that. So here we'll pass the address of our slacker.command definition. Okay, and inside the definition we'll have a handler to handle the event, and it will have a function that will help us to handle it. And inside that function we want to send a response. Let me write it here. We'll send a response dot reply, and we'll just say pong. So if somebody says ping to our bot, we just want to reply pong, right? And so all of these things it has filled up automatically. So like, for example, it'll have context, it'll have request, it'll have response, right? These three things it'll have. And here we'll just add a comma so that everything works properly. So this is our entire code. Now let me just go through it once and see if there is any typo, if there's any other mistake that we've made. Just give me a second. So we have our print command events function, and everything looks good there. I mean, I'm still expecting that there could be some errors, right, when we run this program, and that is not a problem. You have to be very comfortable with errors. That's what developers do, right? So bot looks all right to me, and go print command events looks fine. I'll just add a space here so that I can know that these are two different functions. Then you have your bot.command, which is the most important function, and everything looks good here as well. Then you have your context cancelling and your bot listen. Yeah, everything looks good. Now what we can do is we can head over back to our PowerShell and see what's up out there, right? So let's try building this and see what happens. So it doesn't give me any errors. So I'll say go run main.go, and it should now say, yeah, connected to Slack with socket mode, right? So everything looks good, for now. Now what we should do is we should actually go over to our browser, let me see if I can pull it up somehow. If I can somehow pull up my browser in OBS. I'm not able to do that actually. What I'll do is I'll just stop this video, I think. Or no, yeah, sorry, I was able to do that. Awesome. So I'm in my Slack channel. Sorry, it's my Slack account, and this is our workspace. I have a lot of people, other people that work in my firm. And so this is our general channel, right? And as you can see, I've already tested the bot before. I tested it yesterday. So now let's test it right now. So right now our program is running, right? As you can see, it's connected to Slack mode. Now let's say all we have to do is mention test bot. In many cases, your test bot won't be added to the general channel. So the Slack bot will ask you, do you want to add Mr. Test Bot to the general channel? So all you have to do is say yes. So you'll mention test bot, right? And you'll say ping, and you expect it to say pong, right? So everything is working perfectly fine. And so that was your Slack bot, and we've built a very, very basic Slack bot that just says pong when you say ping. But the thing is that we'll be building some really advanced Slack bots as well. Slack bots that can tell you the weather, that can get you crypto market information, that can get you stock market information, that can also help you get your tickets from Jira. So we'll build all of that. It's not a problem. So do say subscribe to this channel so that you could come to know when those kind of videos come out. And the next videos that will be coming out now will be around Discord and creating a Discord bot. So if you're liking this series, then do subscribe, and thanks a lot for watching. And also leave any comments if you are finding any difficulties while in this entire process. And thank you for watching.